questions are, coming up because of this massive IT outage, and it's obviously continuing to affect operations just like us early this morning, and it's something everyone is talking about. All
right, here to break down how this could have happened and how long it could be for some of these systems to come back up is David Rounds, the owner of a Las Vegas-based company here. Net Effect is the cybersecurity company. David, thank you for being with us here on ARC Las Vegas here on short notice. Let's start there. David, how does this happen? How on earth does this happen?
Well, what happens is CloudStrike is an antivirus and security application that's actually, I think, 29,000 or so customers. They have about 60% of the Fortune 500. So they're a major provider. So it's rolled out through a lot of big enterprises, governments, 911 centers, all sorts of things along those lines. They have to do regular updates on their software to keep up with technology, get rid of vulnerabilities, add new updates to do better protection. And what CloudStrike is asserting is that there was an error in their update. And that automatically rolls out to every machine that has it installed on it. And once that happens, if there's an error in there, it's actually causing it to crash.
Now, sorry about that, for a major IT company as well, last time I checked, their stocks dropped 12% this morning. What type of implications could this have on a giant such as CloudStrike?
Well, they are one of the leading providers. If you look at all the different technology research groups like Forrester and IDC and Gartner, they all put CloudStrike up right up the top. CloudStrike's also a publicly traded company. I think global impact on this, because this isn't just the U.S., this is worldwide. You're probably looking in the billions. I have no way to actually quantify that, but if you think about all the operations, I have contacts around the country that have told me that organizations, IT people are having to go from machine to machine to machine individually, enter a 42-character code that's all cryptographic, and then delete a file in order to get their systems up running. This isn't something they can automate. Wow. So this is a very manual response to having to get this fixed.
David, it's hard to go through life without touching technology every single day. Should people anticipate more of this stuff happening in the future? Because technology is everywhere now, and what can we do to potentially avoid a meltdown like this?
Well, personally, what you do and technically what you do are two separate things. Personally, always keep a little cash in reserve because, financial institutions may be down or from something like this. You need some cash to take care of things. Technically, there's always going to be some risk involved when you have a major provider of a certain piece of software that can cause an outage. I mean, what you guys haven't talked about is, in addition to this, the U.S. central region for Microsoft Azure was down just prior to this CloudStrike thing, as well as Office 365, the email platform is down. So we're all going to have some reliance on technology. But when you have a major supplier that's supplying to like 60% of the Fortune 500, there is going to be the potential for these outages. At this point, it's about making sure you're personally protected in some way. And I'm not talking about technology. I'm talking about having some backups and some disaster plans like you would for a hurricane or you would for a tornado in other parts of the country. That's probably what the most important thing is.
Hey, David, we were just showing on screen some of the, it's informally known as the blue screen of death at some of our local casinos and then behind those airline counters. I know this is a global outage, so I know there's probably some small business that's here in Las Vegas walking into their office this morning and seeing all their systems down. What do they do in the immediate? What do they do right now? What can they do?
There are some articles online that you can search for. There are strict instructions. If you're running, first of all, in order to have this issue, it's not a Microsoft issue. It's a vendor issue, a software that's installed on a Microsoft machine. So there are some articles that you can search on the internet with your phone because you probably can't get into your computer. And it actually gives strict instructions on how to fix the issue. It's literally just deleting one file. The challenge is if you're a business and you're complying with the best practice for cybersecurity, you have your machines encrypted with what Microsoft calls BitLocker. And in order to get into that recovery mode, you actually have to type in a 42-character code, and you also have to know where that code is.
Oh, wow.
So that's the challenge. In our industry, we're managed service providers, cybersecurity providers. So all we do is take care of businesses. I know that there are providers around the country right now that all of their customers are in this state, and I feel for those. We're lucky enough not to have this issue. So it's just a manually rebooting. Give your IT department or your IT provider a call and see what you can do.
From one IT guy to another, I have to ask, no one's raising this question at all. How safe is our infrastructure right now, especially with the outage currently?
You know, I think one of the things that we have to take a look at is that we are having more and more, our supply chain attacks are increasing. So there was a large outage several years ago for a major remote management tool that's used for all the governments. That was SolarWinds. This is another example of that. Now, the SolarWinds example was actually a cybersecurity incident. CloudStrike asserts this isn't. I hope that's the case, because if it is, that would be major for the entire world. Our infrastructure is the more we rely on technology, our infrastructure is always going to have this risk. You asked how safe it is. I don't think you can quantify that. You know, I tell our customers when we talk to them, no matter how many layers of security you put in place, and you need multiple layers like you would your home in order to protect your business and your technology, no matter how many layers you put in, nothing is 100% effective. So there will always be a risk. I also tell my customers, it's not a matter of if you're going to have some sort of cybersecurity incident in your business, it's a matter of when. I promise you that most of you right now, if not all of the viewers there as well, have their information on the dark web, because other large organizations who spend a huge amount of money on protecting their infrastructure have had cybersecurity incidents, and your information's out on the dark web and it's being used against you. So I wish I can give you a direct answer. I don't think we're safe as an infrastructure, so I think you need a personal backup plan and disaster recovery plan, not for your data, but for your livelihood and what you're doing every day.
We're grateful for the honesty. We're grateful for the insight here from David Rounds, the owner of the Las Vegas-based NetEffect. NetEffect.com is the site. David, thank you. Thanks for breaking this all down for us on ARC Las Vegas. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.